So, what I thought I'd do tonight is maybe give you guys some encouragement, dare I say, words of wisdom for going ons, stuff going on in the workplace. So, I must say, this week was one of my better weeks in quite some time. And I will just say that I work for a great company, but your chain of command is everything. So, anyway, I think where I've really had a really good week is because I've been doing and verbally expressing that I am actually in the midst of what I'm calling a Say Less campaign. So, a little backstory. If you're in a scenario, because this may not be applicable in all situations. So here's the dynamic. You're in a situation, you're very knowledgeable, brilliant even. Brilliant. For real, brilliant. And there's a person in your chain of command who sidelines you and just don't want to give you any room to really shine because for some reason that's a problem for them. You fight against that, you push against that, you try to find every way you can to say, hey, from let's work together to just here are the facts because I'm sick of you. Just, you try all of that and then nothing works. And if you're not careful, you will end up stressing yourself out. And sometimes you just got to call it. You just got to say, I don't have any more to give you. I have nothing else to give a negative dynamic. While I do my job, and especially if you love what you do. So, the Say Less campaign, I must say, has been very effective because within the Say Less campaign, I am saying what I feel needs to be said. I will always give my opinion because that is who I am. But if you don't want the opinion, or if you're just shutting me out, or you get snarky because I dared speak, I'm good with that. Because guess what? That's really not my problem. That's your problem. And you have to be careful that even if it's a person in a position of power who's in your chain of command, that would be a person in a position of power, that you don't let them turn you sour on other working relationships. Because a person in power who is like what I'm describing can mess up the whole mood for you in your workplace. The whole tone, the whole energy level, it can just be a mess. But I must say, I found with this Say Less campaign that it has somewhat freed me to compartmentalize that person in a very real way, far as letting that person's energy and negativity impact me. And I've just had a really good time this week at work, in meetings and just talking and laughing with people in the area. So Say Less is really working. But I got another tidbit for you. Hold on. This is Paul Masson Peach Brandy and Sprite. Just in case you were wondering. The other tidbit is, no matter where you are, especially in your career, whether you're just starting fresh out of college or just starting period with a company you want to be with for a while, especially if it's a big company, you are going to hear, you may have heard it even before the workplace, that perception is reality. And you will have all kinds of professionals, HR professionals, consultants, these tests they create that tell you your personality type, your leadership type, what you need to do to improve, blah, 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 blah. I will be the first to tell you I have found value in some of these things as far as self-reflection and for the constructive criticism that you want to use. However, I'm going to have to fix another one of these. There is a flaw with this thought process. My take on it, being the age I am and the amount of years I've spent in a corporate setting, my take on it is perception is perception. If you accept perception is reality, if you accept that in the way that they try to present it to you, no matter the source, it always makes it appear as if there's something on you that needs to be fixed in order for there to be a better perception. And I'm saying to everyone listening to this, that is a flawed concept. Perception is not reality. Perception is perception. Does perception matter? Yes. Can perception have real consequences? Yes. Okay. But if there are bad actors, or if there is a bias against people of a certain demographic, whether it's gender, race, age, whatever it is, and it could be like in the situation I was describing earlier, just a negative dynamic. Why would you give power to what that system in or that negative person has to say about perception of you? And then but they do not ask you your perception of them. You following me? So the power dynamic says, I set the rules. This is life. I get to say who you are to me in my eyes. And guess what? That's the reality, and you need to accept it, and you need to figure out how to change yourself. I will not allow it. I will not allow it. So I am open always to constructive criticism. Being a human being who cares about other people, I care about my own personal growth, I will always be open to constructive criticism. I am not open to any criticism from bad actors, whether they are systemic or from individuals. I could care less what your perception is of me. Now, if you want to document on some test that is supposed to be for all of our good, what your perception is of me, all I take that as is information. I don't take that as a charge that somehow I need to overly psychoanalyze myself to figure out how to prevent you from having a negative bias from me or against me, especially if I know it's rooted in nothing that's concrete. I'm not doing that. And if you really think about it, it's flipping insane for you to do that. I think systems, though, and these tests and all of these who want you to believe that perception is reality and just go marching off and like, yes, let me change so you see me differently. We're not going to talk about what your biases may be because, that's a problem. I say it's bull. So, just a little tidbit from me at the end of this work week to you. Perception is perception. Use the information however you deem appropriate to your benefit. Be open for any criticism that is constructive. But if you have any bad actors or if you have any systems that are judging you and you know they're biased against you unfairly, don't buy into that crap. Do not buy into that shit telling you that somehow now you need to do something different. That would be like if you know you're in a sexist environment, the women have all of these recommendations now on how to change the perception of the people with the sexist attitudes. See how that doesn't work? You see how that doesn't work? That would be like me as an African American. If you have a bias against black people, you know, you, first of all, in these professional tests, you know, most people anyway are not that dumb to be that transparent with what their issue is, but we know, okay? But let's just say in the greater society, if we were charged as a minority with trying to change the perception that others have of us. First of all, we know that shit has already failed. We got story upon story of how black people, you know, tried to prove by education, by looking the part, by being professional, by being successful, that, hey, we're equal, we're human. And story after story, our ship was burned down, people were killed, people were still lynched, people still aren't given a fair shot. So I'm not really interested in trying to persuade you out of your bias if you're a bad actor, because honestly, I don't think that shit works. And I think it's disrespectful to me to even attempt that. So, this is so good. Perception is perception.